I didn't start out with the flood being there at all. It just struck me, really after I was about a fourth of the way into the book, but it was a perfect fit for it. It was so interesting to do that, to give the characters, something else that was messing with them. Not just our Mark Rollins having to deal with the flood, the challenge of the flood and trying to solve it, but the fact that the flood was presenting itself as an opportunity to do evil, and was also an obstacle to people to get away with evil. All a very interesting dynamic, I think, to bring into the story.
There's a new book out that weaves a murder mystery around the historic Nashville flood of 2010. Tom Collins visited a Nashville Barnes & Noble today to sign copies of his new book, The Claret Murders.
The Claret Murders is the fourth book in the what I call the Mark Rollins adventure series. Mark Rollins is a fictional character, but he is a classic white-hatted hero, a guy who never shoots first.
But will shoot.
He will shoot, but he's never killed anybody. But his colorful sidekicks have. Mark Rollins' Bat Cave, and this is where it starts, in Mark Rollins and the Woman's Health Club, is that he owns a very exclusive women's health club that caters to the socially elite and wealthy women of Nashville, Tennessee, Belle Meade, and et cetera, and so forth. This book has Opryland Hotel in it, okay, because it gets flooded, remember? One of my other books has a funeral that takes place in the old Grand Ole Opry building. The character gets killed in Printer's Alley. So all of them take place in Nashville, and therefore all of the venues are things that people from Nashville would recognize. I have lived here all my adult life. My wife is from Nashville. I'm from Memphis. I grew up in Graceland, so with a Elvis contemporary right across the street. I used to ride horses in his backyard. So he was, he and I bought our purple pants at the same store on Bill Street in Nashville, and I had ducktails, he had ducktails. That was when I had hair. You write these things and you do pull real life stuff into them. The real life is the garden that good fiction comes from. And as a writer, we just shine a light on it, and we put some water on it, and we put lots of manure on it. A lot of fertilizer. Right straight from the bull, So there are always pieces of you and pieces of other people that are in the stories. Mark Rollins is not Tom Collins. I mean, he's not. But, but you start with a little bit of Tom Collins simply because, that's who you know. There's some of me. My wife thinks there's too much of me in some of them. I actually didn't start writing until I was 66. I guess that's why Rollins is 66, frozen in time. So many people that say that you have to have an outline. I cannot work from an outline. I mean, a couple of times I've made an effort at it and it doesn't work. You just get these pieces and begin to weave a story together. And eventually you have to say, well, now how are we going to get all this stuff resolved, And so one of the fun things about the mystery, but you see, isn't that the fun of reading a book?
Yeah, that is true.
Okay, so why not have the same fun when you're writing a book? Okay.
That's a great way to look at
it. So you can create these situations and say, now how in the world am I going to get out of this? The actual fun is getting the characters out on the limb and then figuring out how to get back from it. It's not a formula. You and the reader and I are almost discovering this stuff at the same time.
It's an interesting way to write. I hadn't ever thought about it.
It was just so interesting to feel that act of God come into it, and so that all of the possible things that I was kind of predicting in my mind simply were not able to happen because there was this flood, and of course we all lived through it, so we know whatever your plans were for that day didn't come off. It was a really interesting underlying structural thing that was very different from other mysteries and the way that mysteries are usually resolved.
Yeah, I think, God straightened this out, didn't he? He took care of me.
care of some things in a way that wasn't expected.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was a highly paid legal secretary fetching coffee for her lord of the house. She muttered under her breath, "Yes, Master Burroughs, I'll fetch your coffee for you." She filled the cup with hot water to warm the china. She emptied it, filled it with coffee from the insulated dispenser, added half a pack of yellow sweetener and just a splash of half and half. She stirred the coffee slowly, and when she saw that Campbell was busy talking to Betty, she added something else. After she mouthed the words, "This is for you, grandmother." I'll let you discover the other characters yourself. This is 27-year-old bottle of claret from my private cellar. Mary Skinner. To Mary?
I love books and I love wine, so I ought to love this one.
How does it make you feel to see these people out here today, the turnout?
I love it. I mean, I really enjoy seeing people, like any artist, enjoying, what I've created. So it's a pleasure. It's a joy. Each book gets better. It's like anything else that you do. I think this is unquestionably the best of the books.
I can't wait to read it.
Good. Very good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.